Welcome, Basecamp Online. We're so thankful you've chosen to take time out of your busy day, busy week to join us in Basecamp Live. We right now have boys and girls sitting in here, finishing up our 5th week in the Rules for Life, playing well and finishing strong. I can imagine that some of you, when you've been in social distancing or being at home doing online school and even doing Basecamp Online, it's super challenging. I mean, we want to play well and we want to finish well, and we know there's rules in our home and at school and at church and in life. And sometimes living up to all these rules, doing our responsibility, trying to do everything that's expected out of us can cause some friction, tension, and even cause our words to be used in a way that doesn't glorify God, doesn't show others that we love them, or doesn't show that we love God. And that can be a challenge, often because my head and my heart are in the totally the wrong place. When I think about today, our very last bottom line, I'm reminded that today we talk about words. Words are all about our very last rule for life. And today, when we talk about rules, I'm reminded of some stories that happen in the Bible to remind me and you about how we can use our words to glorify God. When I think about some stories about Jesus and the words that he used, I'm reminded of when the day he was in the boat, fell asleep, and all of his disciples were there. And when they fell asleep, the disciples started going crazy, being all worried. The storm and the wind and the waves were crashing everywhere. And Jesus finally stands up and uses his words and says, "Peace, be still." And the raging weather and the waves went from crazy to calm. I'm also reminded of this story of a woman who was caught in the middle of sin. A bunch of religious leaders went and picked her up out of this house and drug her all the way out of the house and into the center of town. There was Jesus standing in front of her, like protecting her. All the religious leaders and mean people standing around wanted to throw stones and to stone her and to hurt her. Her heart was broken. But there in front of her was a man, perfect in every way, who loved her, regardless of what she had done. That person, that was Jesus. And do you know what he said? Do you know what he did? He looked at everyone around. While he looked at them, he knelt down, took out his index finger, and began to write words in the sand. While he wrote those words in the sand, one by one, people turned away. Those who wanted to hurt her, those who wanted to stone her, left. As Jesus stood up, he looked around, and no one was left. The words he had written made everybody turn around and go away. He looked at the woman who was caught in sin and said, "Where are those who wanted to stone you?" And they were gone. You know, our words can build people up. They can tear people down. Our words can help us go through great and mighty things that happen all around us. Our words that are used can help us have a victory. They can help us overcome challenges. They can help us do what we were created to do. And you know, when God looks at us, he wants us to know that he loves us. He wants us to use our words to show that we love other people. And as we show that we love other people, you know what begins to happen? They see God through us. In the book of Proverbs, there's a man named Solomon. Solomon wrote these words. It says, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver." You know, when you and I choose to use words at the right time, they are precious to other people. I imagine there's been some days where you on Basecamp Online and you Basecamp Live students, you've been bummed out. You've been sad. You've had a hard day. And someone has stepped up and used their words to help you. Today, we investigate. No, we uncover and discover what God has in His Word for you and me about our words. Let's check that out right now. Are you ready to kick off Basecamp Online? Here we go.
I can't contain it. This love is so contagious, so contagious. I wanna shout it and tell the world about it. Tell the world about it. Higher than mountain peaks, deeper than the deepest sea. Amazed by your love for me. Wider than galaxies, stronger than anything. Amazed by your love for me. So good, so unbelievable. I found a love that fills my soul. No, I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in. I just can't live one day without it. Can't help but sing about it. No, I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in. I can't contain it. This love is so contagious, so contagious. I wanna shout it and tell the world about it. Tell the world about it. Never been a love so true. Always gonna see me through. That's what your love can do. Faithful every night and day. Nothing more I can say. Your love blows me away. So good, so unbelievable. I found a love that fills my soul. No, I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in. I just can't live one day without it. Can't help but sing about it. No, I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in. I can't contain it. This love is so contagious, so contagious. I wanna shout it and tell the world about it. Tell the world about it. I can't contain it. This love is so contagious, so contagious. I wanna shout it and tell the world about it. Tell the world about it. So good, so unbelievable. I found a love that fills my soul. No, I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in. I just can't live one day without it. Can't help but sing about it. No, I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in.
Welcome to Basecamp and welcome Basecamp Online. We are so thankful you chose to join us today. We have got so many exciting events. As you've already heard in Basecamp Online and Basecamp Live, we are talking about our words today. I think about a guy named James. No, he's not from today. He's actually from a long time ago. I know he's got a very modern name, but this James, he was the brother of Jesus. Now, can you imagine being the brother of Jesus? I mean, your brother always did everything right. He was perfect in every way. The words he used, the things he did, the way that he responded to people was always perfect. I can't imagine living with somebody like that. And I get the idea that James struggled. How do I know that Jesus had a brother named James? Here's how I know that. In the Bible, it talks about his brothers. In the book of James, that's actually in the New Testament. It's written to remind us that we can live for Jesus on this earth. You see, The book of James is an incredible book. It was by Jesus' brother. It was written to the 12 tribes of Israel. These verses through the entire book of James helps us live and love like Jesus called us to. When James wrote in this book, I get the idea that he was thinking back to when he was a kid and when he was around Jesus. Jesus would have spoken every word perfectly in every way, always building people up, always helping them overcome their challenges, always being who he was called to be. Well, James probably, because he was sinful, was not like that. In the book of James, he says that the tongue is like a fire. Now, if you're like me, I love a good fire on a cold, chilly night. Your dad goes down to the fireplace filled with wood and he lights the match, and on those cold, chilly nights, a fire in a nice, warm fireplace is incredible. But when the spark leaps from that fireplace into a place it's not supposed to be, James says this: it can start a forest fire. Now, if you're like me, forest fires are nowhere where I want to be. I mean, I'd love to be a fireman, but I am not a fireman. I might be wearing red, but I don't fight fires very well. You know, a nice warm fire in a fireplace is incredible, but a forest fire is somewhere I don't want to be. Then we go to where James talks about big, huge ships. How many of you have ever seen an ocean liner or a massive boat? Do you know those boats are turned by the very smallest little piece of that boat? They are turned by what's called a rudder. In the book of James, he says this. Remember, this is Jesus' brother. He says this to all of the people: a rudder guides a ship to where it's supposed to be going. When I read that book, in that verse in the book of James, my mind's blown. When I think about this, yes, we can every day be out on the ocean, just traveling on a bright, sunny day. But you know when I need the rudder the most? Not just on a bright, sunny day, but when the storm clouds come rolling in, the moon's hidden behind the clouds, the wind picks up and begins to beat against my face, the rains come whipping down, the waves start crashing over the boat, and at that moment, I need a rudder to guide me to where I'm supposed to go. You know, when I think about our verse that we said at the beginning of Base Camp, that a word fitly spoken is like a precious apple, I think about this. When I'm out on that ocean and my rudder works in the right direction, guiding me to where I need to go, it's like words from a lighthouse pointing me in the right direction. That's what I need. That's what you need. And God today is gonna reveal all kinds of things to you and I about how we can use our words to help other people. Let's keep going in Base Camp where we stand up, we sing, we shout, we praise Jesus. Are you ready? Here we go, all together. Let's do it.
I'm not helpless. I have purpose to change the world around me one step at a time. I wanna be the best me that I can be. Not living for the moment, but the future I see. That's why every second
Hi there! I'm MC Haggis, and this here is my beatboxing partner, Seamus McFamous. Give him a sample, Seamus. This month we're learning about responsibility, showing you can be trusted with what is expected of you. Me and Seamus were both supposed to show responsibility and wash one article of clothing each. One article. Right, Seamus?
Aye.
I guess you could say that we took that one part literally, because we both washed this. This is the only thing we have clean. 2 grown men wearing onesies. So, let's review. We were supposed to show we could be trusted with what is expected of us, right?
Aye.
And the person who was supposed to show responsibility and wash only one article of clothing was me, myself, and you can't have the word responsibility without the letter
Aye.
RESPONSBLTY. Find out what it means to.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
No. And you can say the same thing about you, right?
Aye.
Responsibility. We're not good examples of that today, but kick it anyway. You can have tranquility with your capability to get things done with civility. That's right, you can be trusted with the things that you're supposed to do, and that is responsibility. Word. You know, Seamus, I'm starting to think these onesies are kind of sharp, you know? Maybe we should change our names to MC Skunky and Seamus McWalrus. What do you think? Hey, kick it, Seamus McWalrus.
Aye. Aye.
Wow, Basecamp Online, those guys help us understand our one word of the month. Boys and girls in Basecamp Live are going to help you and me say what our one word of the month is and its definition. Is everybody ready out there? Here we go. Our one word of the month is this: responsibility. Showing you can be trusted with what's expected. When I think all these different times of all the different stuff we've learned, and we're jumping in today to using our words, I have a responsibility given to me by God to use my words to help boys and girls, moms and dads, everyone, even myself, follow Jesus Christ in a way that he's called me to live out a life that reflects his glory to everyone around so that other people can come to know Jesus. I am called to use my words. I'm expected by God to use them to shine a light in a dark world. And man, this world is dark. And without Jesus, it's pointless and empty. But when I found Jesus, I found hope. I found meaning, and I found life. Let's say our one more word one more time. Showing you. Very good, boys and girls in Basecamp Live and Basecamp Online. Man, we have an amazing responsibility, don't we? And when I think about the rules of life and our words, it jumps me right back to the very beginning when you and I started this journey about rules for life, playing well and finishing strong. The thing I remember is that God's given us this very first bottom line, this very first rule. It was to love. That's right. Love God and to love others. It's very simple and hard. It's a simple rule to remember, but hard to practice. I don't know about you, but sometimes when other people use their words and it hurts me, it's hard to love them the way that God's asked me to love them. Because sometimes words that come out of other people's mouths, including mine, are not always kind. And then it jumped us to loving God, loving others, to share what you have. When I love God and I love others the way that I'm called to love him and called to love them, it helps me remember to share what I have. Now, as we've talked before, a lot of boys and girls don't have a whole lot. I mean, we've got toys and we've got blankets, we've got beds, we've got a house, we have a mom, we have a dad, or at least we have someone that watches over us. But they don't have a whole lot to give away, right? But we do when we think about it. We have time, we have energy, we have love, we have kindness, we have care, we can give. And you know what? We have hands that can work to provide that for others in need. The next one on the week number 3 was to work hard. And you know, when I think about loving God, loving others, and using what I have, it takes hard work to get all of this stuff done for other people. I mean, taking time out of my day to go to my neighbor and say, hey, here's some cookies that I made for you. Here's a big giant cake. Oh, you need your lawn raked for the leaves? Oh, shoveling snow, cleaning off your car, saying hi. Oh, okay, I can walk your dog for you. And then cleaning up all the stuff the dog left behind. I mean, that's hard work. But God's called us to work hard, to love others, and to share what we have. Which moved us on to last week's bottom line. Last week's bottom line was this: make the most of what you've been given. Every boy and girl in here has smarts that are used in very different ways. Those smarts are things like creativity, math, science, engineering, building, structuring, whatever it is for you. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's singing. I don't know what God's gifted you with, but God's gifted us all to use something for His glory. The last one is this right here. Use your words wisely. Let's say our bottom line together. 1, 2, 3. Use. Very good, because God's called me and you to use our words wisely. And those are the rules for life given to us by God in His Bible, with 66 books divided into 2 incredible sections, Old Testament and New Testament. And 40 different authors wrote those words so you and I can understand our very first rule for life: love God and love others.
You are the one, the only one who's always faithful and true. Faithful and true. Nobody else compares, there is nobody like you. Nobody like you. Oh, and I can't stop thinking about how amazing your love is. Amazing your love is. I can't stop giving it out. I was made for this. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. Everywhere I go, I'm reaching out for someone just like you do for me. You give your life for free. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. Everywhere I go. You are the one, the only one who's always faithful and true. Faithful and true. Nobody else compares, there is nobody like you. Nobody like you. Oh, and I can't stop thinking about how amazing your love is. Amazing your love is. I can't stop giving it out. I was made for this. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. Everywhere I go, I'm reaching out for someone just like you do for me. You give your life for free. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. I wanna love the way you love. I wanna see the way you see. I wanna give the way you give. Because the love that you've given to me. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. Everywhere I go, I'm reaching out for someone just like you do for me. You give your life for free. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. Everywhere I go, I'm reaching out for someone just like you do for me. You give your life for free. Everywhere I go, I can't stop sharing your love. Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go.
It's time again for Retro Reel. Today on the adventures of Ram Reynolds, Ram, Tad, and their constant companion Arrow fly towards a secret rocket base hidden far out in the Forbidden Desert.
Wowie zow! I can't believe I get to fly in a real rocket!
Hold your horses there, Tad. Flying a rocket is a lot of responsibility. We can't take it lightly.
I won't let you down, Ram! Arrow and I are up for the challenge. Isn't that right, boy? Ruff, ruff.
That's good to hear, because the professor is really trusting us to get that rocket into space.
You can count on us, Ram! Isn't that right, Arrow? Ruff, ruff.
Meanwhile, at the secret rocket base, the professor and Dr. Wolf talk over their plan.
Ram and Tad should be arriving any moment. And if they can't get that rocket into space, our goose is cooked.
Are you sure we should be relying on Ram and Dad for something so important?
He'll do fine.
I hope so.
We should be approaching the base. I'm gonna go ahead and start our descent.
Look, Ram! There's a jet headed straight for us! And he's not moving!
Oh!
Ah! We almost ended our rocket mission before it even started!
Talk about a close call.
I wonder what that jet was doing, Ram!
Beats me, Tad. But I'm gonna get this plane on the ground before anything else happens. We made it.
There he goes again! Wowie zow! Talk about not being responsible! What a show off!
Look, there's the professor and Dr. Wolf.
We are so glad you made it.
We almost did it! That jet could have taken us out!
Who was flying that jet, Professor?
Werner von Braun. He's the one trying to bait us into space.
Beat us? I didn't know we were in a space race!
Ah, there she is. The winged vulture. The winged vulture. The winged, never mind, you get it.
We're all set, Professor.
Wowie zow we are! Just be careful, please!
Okay, Professor, we're finished with the all-system checks. I think we're ready to go.
And Tad, you're sure you can handle the separations? You can count on me, Dr. Wolf!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff!
Wowie zow! Please, Tad, don't hit the moon.
Good job, everyone. You've cleared the tower.
All right, Tad, it's now your turn to separate the ship.
I just got nervous.
You can do it. Just remember your training.
Like, really nervous.
I know we can count on you.
Oh,
Separation in 3, 2, 1.
separation! I did it!
Good job, Tad. I knew you could do it. You ready to do it one more time?
Oh, I forgot about that one. Thanks, Arrow.
Don't worry. I know you've got this. You're one of the most responsible 10-year-olds I've ever met.
Really?
Really. Separation in 3, 2, 1.
Separation!
You did it, Tad!
You've made it into space. We've won the space race.
You know, boys and girls, it's a lot of responsibility to fly a rocket. And Tad took that responsibility and was able to overcome it because his mentor helped him with the words that he said. I think about all the different events that you boys and girls in Basecamp Online and Basecamp Live have to perform. I mean, every day you need to get up, eat your breakfast, brush your teeth, go to school, work so hard, use your brain to do math problems and science and to learn history and to draw art. And sometimes then there's something that came out of nowhere, that pop quiz. Words like, hey, I know you can do it. You've been working so hard. I'm so proud of you. We've been teaching you and you've been remembering. Thanks for all your hard work. You know, small little words build people up and help them overcome the challenges. Let's say our Bible verse all together. You ready? Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Luke 16:10. Let's do this. Let's pray before we go on to anything else. Here we go. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for these boys and girls. God, as we finish up today, I ask you to help us to use our words wisely, that we will be examples and lights in a dark world. In Jesus' name, amen. You boys and girls have been doing so well and our rules for life. Let's say our today's bottom line together. Here we go. Use your words wisely. As we do that, remember, it's a rule that God's placed inside of his Bible. Just like when I'm walking down the sidewalk and I come up to a place where I want to cross the street. There are rules to crossing the street. There's a crosswalk there, and there's usually a sign that flashes, walk or don't walk. It's a rule for life. When we play games like Candyland, there are rules to Candyland. I can't just do whatever I want because that doesn't help life flow very well. It doesn't help me play well, and it doesn't help us finish strong. When we use our words wisely, we play well and finish strong. Let's stand up and see what's going on with our good friends, the Haggis.
And now it's time for this month's widget with MC Haggis and Seamus McFamous.
The disembodied voice is just doing what he's supposed to do. He's being responsible. Let's give him a break. Hey there! I'm MC Haggis, and this here is Seamus McFamous. This month, we're learning about responsibility, showing you can be trusted with what is expected of you. And this month's widget is something that is sure to help us with that. Show him, Seamus. Whoosh. It's the Rules for Life scratch-off card! Families can have some fun while they learn to live with responsibility. Each week, they can take turns scratching with a coin to discover the rules for life, followed by reading the weekly scripture passage. Then, families can discuss how they can live out the rules for life as a family. At the end of the month, after they've talked over the last rule, they can treat themselves to a family dessert party. So get yours today! Oh, I've got an itch. Can you... Yeah, keep scratching. Yeah, just a little more. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, and a rule for life. We scratched 2 birds with 1 coin.
Hey, boys and girls, you are already there. It is time for your family dessert party. All of you on Basecamp Online, I imagine you finished your card. All of us here on Basecamp Live, we have scratched off every single section of our card, and we finally made it to the last week's bottom line and our verse. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, it talks all about our words by a guy named Paul, who we'll get to in a minute, because I don't want to get too far, because we've already talked about a guy named James, and now we're going to jump into this guy named Paul, and he wrote us an incredible verse while he was, don't tell anybody, he was in jail. Writing a Bible verse while you're in jail? Mind-blowing. Well, our bottom line today is this: use your words wisely. I hope you on Basecamp Online have gotten a card just like all of us. If you don't have one of these cards, Miss Judy has them. At the end of our day today, not only will you get a card, but you'll get a piece of candy. Oh, it's amazing. We look forward to seeing everybody on Basecamp Online here soon, as well as Basecamp Online and Live. Well, we're going to stand up and sing another song. Here we go.
I'm not helpless. I have purpose to change the world around me one step at a time. I wanna be the best me that I can be. Not living for the moment, but the future I see. That's why heaven
Erica, how nice of you to join me today. Did you understand that? I said, hi, I'm Erica. How nice of you to join me today. This is such a fun game to play, and it's really funny. Here's the rules. You put this thing in your mouth, and then you say things and he'll try to guess what you say. People have to guess what you say. You try it. Today, you're talking about responsibility, so you can be trusted with what is expected of you. Did you get that? Well, just in case, today we're talking about responsibility. Responsibility is showing you can be trusted with what is expected of you. I think you're saying Hazy, lazy, what are you? Hazy, lazy, has no hair. Hazy, lazy, I'm gonna clear up. Wow! It's really hard to communicate with that thing in your mouth. Could you understand anything I was saying? I never realized how important my words were until I had them taken away from me. Today's Bible story is all about how important words are and how we should use them. I think this will be a very important lesson for all of us to listen to. So, see you soon! Did you get it? Huh? Everything going? Huh?
Wow, when I think about using my words wisely, it's hard when there's other stuff up here and in here that doesn't line up with what God has for me, and especially in a way to live. Like, when I'm thinking about bad thoughts, what comes out of my mouth? Bad stuff. It's kind of like Erica. She had that dentist thing inside of her mouth, and when that was inside of there, it interrupted what she was trying to communicate. When I have sinful stuff inside of me, it interrupts what God wants me to communicate to everyone out here. But you know, when I have my mind, my heart centered on Jesus, to use my words wisely, it helps me communicate His truth to everyone. And that's what God desires out of my life and out of your life. I can't help think about anyone else but this guy right here. His name is Paul. Paul went around traveling, telling moms and dads, boys and girls, aunts and uncles, all about Jesus. We remember that Paul, at one point in his life, was super-duper mean. I mean, he wasn't kind to any Christians anywhere. Do you know what he did? He hurt people. He hurt the church. But then a voice, words, came from heaven, from God, and spoke down while he was on his way. And guess what happened? It totally transformed his life. And then he traveled from place to place, telling moms and dads, boys and girls, aunts and uncles, everyone about how God loved them. He sent his son Jesus to rescue them from sin. He went in and out talking to churches. Now, churches didn't look like our church does here, and they didn't have online church either. Their churches were meeting in people's homes, in synagogues, in all kinds of different places, much different than what we do today. It doesn't make it right or wrong, it was just different. And when they were traveling around telling others about Jesus' love, the religious leaders and others didn't like it at all. They wanted all the attention to go to them. Paul wasn't all about the attention on him. He knew that his life was to have all the attention on God and on Jesus, because God's our creator and he loved us. Well, the Roman soldiers arrested Paul and his servants, helping him get out the message, and they threw Paul into jail. One day, while Paul was inside jail, he wrote to the church of Ephesus, and we find that in the book of Ephesians. Can you guys say that with me? Ephesians. It's in the New Testament. And like I've said before, Paul wrote a majority of the New Testament. The New Testament is the second section of our Bible. The Old Testament tells us all about the things that came before Jesus came. Right when we hit the New Testament with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, it begins to tell an amazing, incredible, most splendid picture of the life of Jesus. Then we move on to the time of the churches. And as we read, we find Paul writing right here in Ephesians chapter 4, verse number 29. I kind of get the idea that Paul, when he was writing this, people had said some mean words, some hurtful words. Even at the church of Ephesus, there were people that were using their words, not wisely, but hurtful and tearing others down. And in Ephesians chapter 4, verse number 29, it says this, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to the needs, that it may benefit those who listen." Think about what Paul said. His whole goal, his whole purpose in writing this one little verse was to help followers of Jesus understand that our words are to be used to build other people up. Let me read that one more time to you. "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up, according to their needs, that it may benefit those who," what? Listen. You know, in your houses, there's other people there. Your brothers, your sisters, your moms, your dads. Then when you go to school, there's people, and they're watching, and they're listening to everything that we're saying. And they're wondering how you're going to use your words. I want us just to take a moment in this quiet section to think about Paul. People had said some mean things to him. They had said some things that caused him to have to go to prison. Probably some words that weren't very helpful. Funny part is, some people were trying to hurt Paul with their words, but they actually, in saying hurtful things, were telling other people about the gospel message, about how Jesus had come and died and rose again, and how he had come to love the people. And Paul began to look at words very differently. And that's why he wrote this. Because people use their words to either help others or to hurt others. You see, our words are powerful. And when Paul writes this, he says this, hey, are you using your words to build others up? How about when your brother or sister take that piece of candy that you had sitting on the counter, or you were playing toys, and you know your little brother and sister didn't mean to, but they knocked over your Lego or your building, or you were both coloring on a page next to each other, and they colored on your page with a color you didn't want there. See, our words are powerful. Remember we talked just a few minutes ago about the guy named James who was Jesus' brother, and he wrote a book in the New Testament, and he talked about our tongue? You see, James wanted us to understand that just like a rudder on a boat can guide and direct that huge ship, even though the rudder's super small, that rudder's powerful, just like your words are powerful. He also talked about a flame. Think about sitting next to a big fire in your fireplace. Your dad takes out a match and lights it, and the logs on the fireplace ignite into this amazing warmth. Just a few moments ago, you were shivering cold, and now you sit next to this incredible fire. See, your words are powerful. If that spark of fire leaps from the fireplace and onto your carpet, what can happen? Your whole house could go up in a flame. I want to talk about another part of words that Paul's trying to help us to understand. Not only are they powerful, but words repair. You know, words can fix things. Like when I say, hey, I love you, I care about you, I like you. You've got some super cool pants on today. Look at those shoes. I bet they make you go fast. You know, God's wired you in a very special way. God is looking at you and has a plan for your life. You have so much potential. You do great work. Thanks for trying so hard. Thanks for loving your brother and sister in that way that you loved them. Hey, thank you so much for giving to the people around. I want to read you a story about my dragon, because I think dragons are awesome. Dragons are powerful, and dragons can repair things. And sometimes dragons can be super duper scary. Having a dragon is so much fun. I bet you'd love to have one. My dragon weighs more than a megaton. He makes people stop and stare, while others shout, "Beware!" Words are much like my dragon, you see. Some people stop and stare, but while others do declare. While others stop in true delight because of their words are a guiding light. Words can make people run or help others have fun in the sun. Oh, my dragon's name is Arrow. We love to play, wrestle, and soar. We often take flight and race our friend the sparrow. Up so high we reach outer space, then we dive to the deepest place and take rest on the ocean floor. Although training your dragon can be fun, when they are done, they get as hot as the sun. Dragons are not at all like birds. They are much more like words. They can throw a fit. When they don't like what you told them, they will snort, contort, shoot fire, breathing, spit. Words are just like fire. Fire from dragons you see. Fire can be set to warm you when you are so cold, or fire can be set to destroy a whole household. Words can be good and bad, just like the words from the dragons can be. There was that day when Arrow did not like what he needed to do, so he let out a roar and a thump, not just with his paws, but with his massive claws. What came next? What mattered most? It was a roar and a shout when the flames shot all about. We jumped here and there, and quickly all of us bailed out. Everyone around shouted, "Clear out!" There was a fire everywhere. With his snout pointed high in the air, he opened his mouth, and what came next was so much fire we all went woozy and perplexed. We hoped that he would settle down, but then he started to run throughout the town. Flame shot here, flame shot there. We ran to those who shouted, "Beware!" No shouts of joy, only schoolgirls and boys who shouted, "We needed a water boy!" The town was struck with fear, and everyone was crying with big, huge tears. Dragons are filled with power, just like words can bring others to life, like a flower, or make them run and cower. We ran and huddled, but everywhere was melting down. The flames even reached up to the king's crown. It was time to turn things around. It was time to help Arrow turn things down. We knew we needed to make a repair. We stopped and we looked, and then Arrow stared. We could sing and use strong, hurtful words, or we could be soft and kind, like songbirds. Kindness is timeless. Kindness is true. It's the glue that binds us and helps to get us through. He heard our gentle cry and turned with a stern eye. As our song continued on, his anger softened and was gone. His anger, which had grown so large, was changed and even discharged. It was a sweet and gentle tone, the words we needed to own. The song we sang was like a prayer, soft and gentle, kind, not judgmental, to Arrow, who is acting like an angry, grizzly bear. You see, our words in life can be something that sets others free or makes them feel lost. in the Caspian Sea. We set in motion to help Arrow feel better, like the kindest note or love letter. Words can warm you like a sweater or harm us like cayenne pepper. The words we use must be checked up. We can make others feel sped up, closed up, burned up, and held up, grown up, followed up, pushed up, and stirred up. We can wind them up, stir them up, blow them up, or even back them up. We can give people a heads up and even a wake up. We must remember words are like arrow that can lead us all in the right direction or leave us with feelings of dissatisfaction. Will you use your words to make repair and learn to show you care? And when you get ready to speak, ask yourself the question, will this help others have a winning streak, or will they feel as if they are in defeat? Words, when rightly formed, keep us informed. They can tear us down, or they can turn us around. There are power in our words we share as we learn to use words that repair. See, boys and girls, my dragon, Arrow, he could use his words to light things and destroy things. Or we could have used our words to help him, to turn him around, to be helpful, to have fun, to fly high into the sky, up towards the sun, or way down towards the ocean floor. See, our words are powerful. What will you do with the words that God's given you to use? Let's see what Erica learned today.
Sticks and stones and wood can never hurt me. Have you heard that phrase before? Oh, I said, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Do you think that's true? I mean, I guess a word is never going to actually break an arm or a leg, but can someone's words hurt you? I think so. How about this? Have you ever hurt somebody else with your words? I have. Why do we do that? If we follow Jesus, it's our responsibility to use our words wisely. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Don't let any evil talk come out of your mouths. Say only what will help to build others up and meet their needs. Then what you say will help those who listen." Our words should be helpful. We should use them to encourage people. You're doing such a great job. I'm so proud of you. We should use words to comfort. It's going to be okay. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And you should definitely use your words without this thing. It's not always easy to control what you say, but a good place to start is to try and think before you speak. Think. Are these words helpful or hurtful? Do they build up or tear down? Take a few seconds, especially if you're mad or upset, to think before you say words that hurt. Here's the rule for life to remember today. Use your words wisely. Simple to say, not so simple to do. You're going to need God's help for sure. So, to sum up, sticks and stones and lions, but words may also hurt. Here you go. Are you get it?
Boys and girls in Basecamp Online, thanks again for joining us. We are so excited that you join us in Basecamp Live. When I think about our words, we can help move things forward in our house, or we can hold them back. Just like Erica said, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may also hurt me. When I think about when your mom and dad ask you to make your bed, brush your teeth, take out the trash, we can be, "Oh man, come on." Or we can be, "Yeah, I got it." You think every time we use a word like that, like God's told us to build others up, we help move our house forward in the way that shows love and kindness and compassion and care. So today, let's all of us choose words that build others up, because our words have power and they repair. And God, when he came into this earth, Jesus, he came to repair the world with the words he used. Boys and girls in Basecamp Online and Basecamp Live, thanks for joining us. We'll be here right here next week. See you later. Bye-bye.